Yes.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D. Sorry for starting a bit late tonight. The official stream start time will be moving to about nowish for future sessions, but for the time being, let's get back to D5 Campaign 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left, the now slightly bigger party of adventurers, you guys arrived at the Humor Empire city of Mercurial to attend the summer ball alongside the Tebadran royal family, who have more or less smuggled Lucian, Gil, and Zephyr in under the guise of servants to the royal family. You guys have arrived a bit early, currently about 3 days left before the ball officially gets underway. And you guys have taken the time to do some various levels of reconnaissance. You guys have explored the fairgrounds, acquired various cheap circus food. You guys have seen a few of the royal processions of people who have arrived here slightly after you. You have recruited a new member of your party, Raccoon, the Goblin Bard, from the Tavern of Nortwicks, where you are currently staying free of charge under the Tebadran royal emblem. So, uh, with that, when we last left the party, you had finished exploring the fairgrounds. Lucian, Gil, and Raccoon had elected to return to Nortwicks to discuss their next move, while Zephyr, you have elected to head across the city towards the mansion where the other various royals and nobility and people of importance are staying during the extent of the ball under the Emperor's carefully watchful eye. And with that, let's dive in. So, the three of you heading to the tavern, you are, of course, able to get to Nortwicks without issue. The airships that had arrived earlier this morning continue to quite literally cast a shadow over the city. You're basically an almost ever-present shade as you walk the streets of the city. But eventually, you are able to reach Nortwicks without issue. Although you do notice the crowd gathered around the front gates has yet to disperse, as the sound of further royal enclaves draws a bit nearer. So, as you guys arrive back at the tavern where you're staying, what would the three of you like to do?
Hmm.
I want to gamble some more.
Yeah, like
Oh, brother.
they wanted to do a bunch of wacky stuff like karaoke and stuff. So I was like, you know,
Yeah, so yeah, I figured we'll let you guys chill and then see what Zephyr's doing on the plot side of the city. All right, so
Later.
I don't think that Lucian would be really wanting to do any karaoke. I don't even think she knows what that is.
just say you guys
Um,
fool around, yeah.
She actually is going to mingle with the commoner. Talk talk to them and see about what the city is like and what the the normal day-to-day situation is.
okay. All right. So both of you make me separate investigation checks. While you're doing that, Raccoon, what would you like to do?
They're back at the inn, right?
Yes, you guys have arrived back at the inn. Lucian is just kind of mingling with the various orcs, giant folk, and ogres, while Gil is prowling, searching for something to fritter away some extra coin.
Mm,
15.
I got
Okay.
11.
All right.
Not very good.
she is probably going to just scuttle around and keep an eye on things, watch and listen out for anything.
Okay. I'll say make me a perception check.
Okay. My dice. I need to grab it.
So it's
It's a 2.
so what?
A 2.
All right. Okay, so first up, Lucian. It's easy enough to do. Just mingle with those at the tavern, and so you're just asking about the city, essentially, like if there's anything
Yeah,
particular.
I assume that she would know who the nobles are. Maybe like never really communicated with them, but maybe know who.
I'll say make me a history check.
Okay.
Because the Humor Empire is a rather young and small empire currently in the midst of an expansion. So it's not
I'm
necessarily
going to try
guaranteed
the
that.
D&D Beyond history.
Just tap it.
Click. I did. Fine.
So you bring
See, I didn't do it.
here close.
History. Okay, there we go.
You got
Oh,
a
I got a
natural
fucking
20.
natural
Can you hear
20
me
my
okay?
first time.
And yes, all right, natural 20, nice.
Can
And
you hear me
yes,
okay?
we can hear you. Okay, yeah, you're.
Okay, cool.
All right, so Lucian, for your recollection of the Humor Empire's nobility, the Humor Empire does not have a nobility in the sense that, like, you're familiar with. Before the current emperor, who goes by many titles, but emperor is technically his most formal one, before the emperor took over, these territories were a just loose confederation of giant territories. And giants do not answer to titles or to nobility; they answer to a internal familial hierarchy, where the oldest member of the group, who is able to physically hold their power, is the one in charge. You As a result of that, most of the natives here address the emperor as father, because he takes the role that the father of the group would typically take. So because of that, there is not nobility in the traditional sense. It is simply the oldest typically hold the most power. But asking the nobility, asking the commoners about the city itself, with the knowledge that there's nothing really to report, at least on the city itself's nobility. Um, the city of Mercurial is, you are able to gather from your just casual talk with, basically playing yourself off as a tourist here to sightsee and see what's up with this fancy ball. You are able to gather that the city is uh, surprisingly very unexpected for the type of people that live here. Um, you are able to gather that the city of Mercurial is a uh, hotbed of trade and culture. Um, whether that's an intentional effort on the part of the emperor, or simply the result of, with the emperor's leadership, the giants making more efforts to actively trade their exotic private collections of materials and wealth with the outside world, is anyone's guess. But that does explain the almost ever present smell of spices and exotic, almost wax-like materials and minerals, which also serves the convenient purpose of covering up the somewhat ever-present stench of the city's inhabitants. Um, or rather, you gather that, while the city itself does not typically have nobility, the palace was constructed after the emperor took over. In fact, a good chunk of the city was. and the mansion that the nobility attending the ball are staying at was constructed afterwards as almost a very quiet, understated statement of authority on the part of the emperor, as the palace is twice the size of the mansion and houses less than half the amount of people. But that's about all you can gather. Is that Mercurial is a fairly recently built city that has made itself a surprising hub of trade, which has made it somewhat popular for foreign businesses who can be comfortable living alongside the people that live here.
Right. From these people, do they seem to like either accept it or do they not like it? Or is there like a mix?
Make me an insight check.
Okay. Let's see if I can do this. An 18.
Kind of watching the people's reactions, you notice, especially whenever talk of the emperor or father comes up, they don't seem necessarily. It's a bit tough to describe, but the gist of it that you can gather is that while they do not necessarily love the man they call father, there isn't necessarily a unanimous dislike against him. And while you search, you search carefully, only occasionally do you see those occasional inklings of fear in the place of respect. But overall, the population seems to bow to his authority, even if their personal opinions of him are somewhat questionable. Because, as you were able to gather from previous history checks and your current conversations, the current emperor won his place on the throne in a trial by combat. It seems like most of the population has basically agreed that his authority is not fit to be questioned, even if they do consider him a somewhat discomforting outsider.
Okay. So it's like, even if they don't like him, they're not going to say anything about it.
Yeah, basically, like, whatever makes him not super popular, even if it may just be the fact that he's an outsider, isn't enough for, like, the discontent to be worrying.
Okay.
So to
So, go
confirm,
ahead.
this is like the same town that Raccoon lives in, right?
Yes.
Okay, she probably doesn't necessarily have an opinion on this. Her life mostly revolves around Lorcan and the tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she'll just keep on talking to people, maybe see if, you know, they want, like, because she's a cleric, maybe see if any of them want, like, trade for, you know, like a Jesus person going into like the bars and be like, hey, have you heard about Jesus? You know. So she's gonna like just go ahead and see if anybody
Try
like
to convert some
like
people.
hey, do you know that you can, you know, there's life, you know, to start talking about the life goddess. There's life, and you know, you are life. You're life. So you should thank the goddess for that.
All right, I'll make me a religion check.
Okay.
I'll say with disadvantage because even here, nobody's super a fan of being like, yeah, or just being told what to worship, basically.
Okay, so. Well, she's
Raccoon
not like
in the background
saying
is kind of like,
Buddha.
what is
Okay,
Sorry, Raccoon's like kind of in the background, like,
oh,
what the hell
I
is
rolled
this
two
crazy...
15s.
2?
Yeah, I rolled 2 15s.
Nice. So Raccoon, you just kind of observe as Lucian begins to like basically just give an almost impromptu sermon to any giant.
She's like, to herself, she's like, who's that crazy elf? Oh wait, I know that crazy elf.
Listen,
and
she's not being like a Bible thumper, but like she's like, hey, you know, you should give thanks for
yeah,
being alive.
yeah, I get you. And Raccoon, as you watch, to your surprise, a few of the giant kin actually do seem somewhat interested, and Lucian basically begins to delve into what kind of goes into the worship of their goddess, and some of you see a lot of the giants and ogres just kind of nodding along and seeming fairly interested. And Lucian, as you do this, you kind of get the sense that while they're familiar with the concept of gods, they don't seem to have like you've noticed no religious symbolism or anything resembling a church as you went through here. So you kind of get the impression that this sort of thing is somewhat foreign to them, and they're interested just for the sheer novelty.
Right. And she'd just be like, hey, you don't have to go to church. You can, like, thank them when you wake up. Thank them when you go to bed, you know? You don't have to go to church. Silly.
Yeah, and you see like one giant kind of elbow the guy sitting next to and kind of nod, and you kind of hear him just like, oh, I could do that.
So yeah, that's what she'll be doing.
All right. Gil.
Yes.
While Lucian's given their impromptu.
Hang on, wait. I want to say before that, can she roll against Raccoon, because Raccoon possibly might be interested as well.
Oh, yes.
It
I would love
sounds
that.
simple, and she likes simple.
Sounds so.
Okay. So what would I roll?
Well, so you already rolled. You already gave a religion roll. So
Okay.
I'll say. I'll tell you what. I'll say Raccoon, make me an insight check, since that's the closest there would really be to like.
See how simple it is.
Yeah.
16.
As you listen to Lucian's sermon, you're not much more familiar with religious worship than any of the people living here. Again, you've lived here for a while, and this city doesn't really have any like. They're not against religious worship, but they don't really have an organized thing for it either. But you do actually recognize some of what Lucian is talking about as something that your adoptive father was incredibly against, and dissuaded you from seeking the worship of in faith. Basically, like he wouldn't necessarily like be upset with you if you did, but you grew up hearing him discuss the very same things Lucian is talking about, and dismissing them as heresy and like a bad form of worship.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I agree.
So she's still kind of just like, crazy elf, nothing to really notice.
All right.
Listen, Lorcan's word is law for her.
Yeah, that's fair. So Gil.
Crazy elf.
Oh yeah, you're to talk.
I am.
You prowl the tavern for a bit, and to your disappointment, you do not see the orc who had been kind of quietly organizing gambling before. But looking after searching for a while, you see a table towards the back, kind of set up against the wall, is currently hosting several orcs, about 4 in total. What game sets are you proficient with?
Dice.
You don't recognize the game they're playing, although you can immediately recognize it as a form of gambling. You're just not familiar with the rules involved. But I will say, for the sake of simplicity, you see them playing what we would immediately recognize as poker.
I'm going to watch.
Okay.
I want to see how it's played.
All right.
And who's good.
Okay.
Might be
Okay.
I'll say maybe an insight check with disadvantage, because you're trying to learn the rules while also kind of observing the players, so your focus is being split.
Yeah, you don't know if they're cheating because you don't know how it's played.
Yeah, like basically you won't know who's good at it until someone wins, because you don't know like how the game is played.
$13.
watching them play, you feel somewhat like you vaguely understand the rules. It seems relatively simple as far as you can tell, but you are completely at a loss as to who among them is doing the best until one of them is finally declared the winner. The largest of the orcs by far, incredibly muscular with a sleeveless leather tunic, and as the other players in various levels of grace, quote unquote, a lot of screaming and table slamming, greedily takes all the chips, and the players begin to fork over very impressive amounts of gold.
Okay, I want to go up to him and I'll say, any room for one more?
Looking around as you approach the table, they kind of look at you, kind of look to each other, and just kind of you see if you kind of vague nods of the head and tilts before finally the big one who had won before nods to you and gestures to the seat directly across from him and says, "Do you play?"
I'm a beginner.
As you sit, so do you take the seat?
Yes.
Noob.
As you sit down, the orc sitting closest to you, a very small, skinny orc with very almost serrated tusks. You can see several nicks and damages in the tusks, and he has a generally very wild and unfocused look to him, but he leans forward to you with an excited smile, kind of hopping up and down in his seat. Seems very young and inexperienced, and says, "Oh, if it makes you feel any better, I don't know how to play either."
Well,
And
good to
I
know
love
it
him
won't be
already.
that bad.
I love him already.
The orc sitting across from him, who's sitting on your right, Gil, a very somewhat older looking, but still fairly on the young side orc with his somewhat greasy hair slicked into bangs over his eyes, kind of leans back, and you see he has a very awkward, somewhat tilted stance to him, and he said, "You said you've been playing for years." And the young orc hops up and down and gives an excited smile. "I know, I was lying."
Well, that's
Listen,
the first part of the game.
if anything happens to this orc, I will kill everyone in this room and myself.
Yeah, it's always the random NPCs. All right, so the big muscular orc who had won before pulls a pouch of coins from his belt and begins to deposit coins into his hand, and the other orcs begin to do the same, and he slams down a handful of gold coins, and the others begin to do the same, and he looks at you and says, 100 coins to the pot.
Ooh, that's a big game.
That's a big game.
Okay, one.
Is she gonna do it?
Checking to
Okay.
see if he even has that much.
He does, but it's just a question: is he gonna do it? Yeah.
He's gonna grimace and put in the 100.
Ooh.
The other orcs observe excitedly, and they all contribute 100 to the pot as well. So, with 100 coins from every player, the pot starts
four
at
players?
500 gold.
Oh, there's 5 players. Okay. So,
Shit.
Yeah, because 4 orcs
Damn.
and Gil.
so if you win, if you
Raccoon
lose,
wants all that.
you're broke.
Listen, Lucian's just preaching her head off. Megan.
Gambling, not my thing, not your thing. Not your god religion thing.
Listen, if Gil can get through this without Lucian judging him, I will be very impressed.
It's not the fact that you win or not, it's just if you don't get judged.
Yeah,
All right.
you know.
Gil, you are the large orc begins to distribute cards, and the game begins. Because you are not proficient, you are going to be making me a straight intelligence roll.
Intelligence.
Excuse me, sneeze.
Intelligence.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Sweat freezing.
It's a +4.
Oh yeah, not your dump stat.
Let me see.
Did he
Let me
lose all
see.
his money? Did he lose all his money?
That's not bad.
It's not great.
It's not that bad.
15.
Okay. So, for those at home, while I will not be explaining the minutia of the game because it's not
Blackjack.
super. Well, you are
Zephyr.
actually playing a slightly varied version of Texas Hold'em, where you have the 2 cards in hand and then the like cards that are available to everyone. So, Gil, with your vague knowledge of the game's rules, you begin to play, and through your hand is not particularly amazing, but through clever bluffing, which is something you are good at and can contribute to your playing of the game, you manage to get to the end of the river being folded with only the large muscular orc still in the game. I'm going to need you to make me an insight check to see if you know, basically if he thinks he can beat you or if he's bluffing.
Six.
What? 6?
All right.
16.
Oh, I heard 6. Like what?
Gil, you study that orc closely, and you can see his large orcish nostrils are flaring, and it's subtle, but he is breathing slightly heavily as he looks between the cards and you get the impression, like, I think you basically your hand isn't great, but you feel like his hand might be worse.
500.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit back and relax. My kind of
Okay. Did you say anything else after sit back and relax, just to make sure?
looking at my cards.
Okay.
Just looking.
Eventually, the time comes to put quite the table, and as you put down your terrible hand, only able to get a single pair, he smiles and puts down 2 pair. He grins, and the other players begin to like scream and pound the table again as he pulls the pot towards him, smiling to you, and says, "Good cards. Mine were better."
Yeah,
Wreck.
true.
Oof.
Can I tell if he cheated?
Make me another insight check.
Raccoon
I feel like the noise would get Lucian's attention, and she'd like turn her head over to him.
18.
Ugh.
Okay. And Raccoon, yes, you can as well if you like.
Yeah, because she's just been staring with rapt attention because there's a lot of shinies on that table.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a 20.
Nice.
All right. Gil and Raccoon, you carefully observe the players in general, but especially the large orc. And Raccoon, you actually recognize these guys. They don't come in all the time, but they do come in here about once a week or so for a regular game like this. And as you recognize the large player, he is typically the best at the table from what, as much attention as you can pay to an individual table of regulars while serving everyone else. And both of you, as you watch his reaction, while he is very proud of himself for winning, as far as either of you can tell, and Raccoon from seeing him frequently, he not only has not cheated, Raccoon, you actually recall an incident where he threw physically another player out of the tavern for being caught cheating.
Cool.
Okay, I feel better.
You feel better? But...
At least a little bit. That still hurt.
It's like,
Lucian's gonna look at Gil. Do you ever have a time where you're not gambling your money away? That was like 100 gold that you just threw away.
But I couldn't gain out of it.
Gained 400.
Yeah, but
100.
you already watched this man win one time already, and you don't even know how to play this game.
But do you even
felt
know
lucky.
that?
Oh my god!
Do you even know that he doesn't know how to play?
I think she can assume.
You can.
Ouch.
Listen, the only game that I am good at is Dragon Chess. Okay, and I'm only kind of okay at.
Lucian, as you say that, you see the large orc looking at you with interest and kind of tilting his head to the side with a smile.
Yeah.
You gotta play some Dragon.
Sorry, she doesn't gamble.
He ignores you and looks at you, Lucian. Dragon chess. You'll play?
So often. I mean, I haven't played it in a couple months, but yeah, I play.
He smiles and leans forward and kind of steeples his fingers, seeming kind of like energetic and excited, and says, "Would you like to play? Cannot find many players in the city."
Lucian will sit down and wet her lips very slowly and look him right in the eyes. Maybe just for fun. I don't like to gamble.
He holds up a hand and shakes his head. No money, just fun to play.
I agree. Let's play then.
Dragon, what is it?
Dragon
It's
chess.
basically just D&D chess.
It's basically
Gil, the young, excitable orc to your left, kind of hops up and down between the and watching the two of them, and looks at the big orc and just, come on, big fella, we played together once. It was fun, yeah. And the big orc just kind of looks down at him and narrows his eyes. Was fun until you started eating pieces.
Lucian's gonna chuckle.
Listen, this sounds perfect.
Do you have a set on you?
He smiles and pushes his chair back to stand up. Is in the room. I will go to.
I will wait here.
He walks between the two of you and kind of pats you on the shoulder, Gil, as he passes. The fourth orc, who has not yet spoken, other than occasional, just bits of small talk during the previous game. Gil, both of you notice that he has his cheeks are bright red and almost perpetually swollen. He kind of has the appearance of someone who has just been in a fight, but like is still like able to walk around and not deal with the likely concussion he has. But he pushes himself very haphazardly away from the table and says, "Not playing. Girly game."
No, more like intelligent game.
The lanky orc with the bangs chuckles and says, "The elf has you there, friend."
You just hear Raccoon in the back going, "Oh, she got him! She got him!" She's like tugging on his sleeves.
The energetic orc pounds the table, laughing excitedly, and just kind of perpetually hopping up and down. Eventually, the orcish players go their separate ways, saying their goodbyes to you, Gil. And Lucian, the large orc, returns and begins to set up a dragon chess set. And you see that the pieces are all a very finely carved, smoothed, and laminated wood. Definitely not the mass-produced of a sort sets that you would see elsewhere, where they're made out of much simpler, easier to work with materials. And he sits across from you and very politely pulls his chair up closer to the table and taps his fingers before just, "Your move."
Okay.
with that, if you are proficient in this, make me an intelligence check and add your proficiency bonus.
Okay. We have to.
Yeah.
What do you need?
And then I add 2.
Yep.
So 20.
Natural or dirty?
Dirty.
Sounds like they sound like a 30.
Luce, you guys who are present in the tavern, those of you who choose to pay attention, watch as Lucian does incredibly well, getting an incredible early lead over the clearly very seasoned veteran player. And you can see him kind of sweating and biting his finger. He doesn't seem agitated. He just seems really into the game. Much more energetic than you had seen him playing cards with the other orcs. Lucian, you have taken the lead. I will let you make another check, this time with advantage against him, to see if you can finish him off.
All right. Okay. That was a good one. Let's see if I can get the better one. 21.
All right.
Well, he's done for.
So, Lucian, seeing your chance, and you know how this game works, you start to push your advantage. But while he's not able to make up the lost ground, he's putting up a fight. You manage to eliminate a good chunk of his pieces, but the pieces he has left, he is moving and it gets to the point where those of you in the tavern watching, most of the patrons aren't paying too much attention, as this game is not incredibly popular in this part, in this city. Gil and Raccoon, if you're still watching, the turns are beginning to take longer and longer as both players very carefully weigh their options before making a move. And eventually, while you are still in the lead, Lucian, he has managed to undercut some of your advantage. There will be one final contest to determine the winner. You will still have advantage, though, because you're still winning.
Okay.
Woo!
Murder the boy.
21 again.
No, you got advantage.
I know, I did it twice.
Oh.
I got 21 and 19.
All right. Lucian, you managed to, he takes a lot of your pieces down, but you manage to corner him, and you're just about to go for the checkmate when he moves a pawn that you had not seen. It had been on the board, but you had been so caught up in the back and forth that that a few things were slipping your attention. And he manages to catch your queen from behind and knocks it over very delicately so as to not damage the piece, and puts his piece in its place. Checkmate.
Ooh.
Nice.
Lucian will give him a little bit of a clap. Very well done. You're very good.
You as well. You have incredible talent, little elf.
Not so bad yourself. She's gonna give him a sweet.
He kind of smiles at you and holds out his very large, meaty, orcish hand. What is your name, little elf?
My name is Lucian. What is yours? And she's going to shake his head.
He smiles. I am Varen. Is nice seeing.
Very nice.
He kind of slicks his hair back a bit just to keep it out of his face, and begins packing up the chess set, and just kind of smiles to himself and looks back to you as the set is being packed away. It's not often to find fellow intellectual in the city.
It's not often that I find another intellectual.
You see him throw a noticeable glance at Gil. He doesn't seem dismissive. It more seems like the kind of you really saying that in front of him kind of face. But he kind of smiles a bit and says, possibly unfair, but suppose it's not placed to judge.
Trust me, I've been with these guys for a while. Not so much the little goblin. I like her, you know.
He doesn't even see me.
tall other elf, he's okay, but still kinda, and she's gonna like tap her forehead.
He kind of chuckles and pats Gil on the shoulder from across the table, and just is not so bad. Talented player, just needs refinement.
He has a lot to learn. I will agree with that.
Can I borrow your chess set so I can beat her?
What? Can you play?
You can beat her.
Well, but well enough.
Hey, no physical violence in the bar, please.
No violence.
No, we'll just do this for chess if you don't mind using it for a minute.
He smiles and says, "Of course, Miss Lucian. Just be gentle with pieces. Our hand card."
Of course, it is very beautiful. Did you make this yourself?
He kind of smiles, almost in a very kind of bashful way, and nods slowly. Carved in free time between shifts. Had to replace after several devoured.
Talented. Very talented. Very good job.
Many thanks.
All right, Gil. You ready to be beat?
No.
No.
You're gonna be beaten.
As a person who knows how to play the game.
All right. I'll say so yeah, go ahead and make me the first of the contest. So it'll be an intelligence check. If you are proficient in dragon chess sets, then you can use your proficiency bonus as well, but otherwise it is just your intelligence.
Okay. You got mine? Did you do yours? I have a 17.
Same. I had a 17 too.
All right. So you two begin a new game. The large orc Varen watches just with a hand on his chin, very carefully observing as the two of you begin to play. And occasionally you see the energetic young orc kind of start toddling over, eyeing the pieces, but Varen just shoots him a glare and he walks away. Lucian, you get the feel as the game starts to get like a few turns start to pass. Yeah, you can gather that Gil isn't necessarily 100% sure how the game works. You manage to catch him occasionally making a fairly rookie mistake that you manage to take advantage of. But you very quickly also get the feeling as your own pieces start to fall that while Gil may not necessarily know the rules, he is great at adapting as he figures things out. You two are currently tied. Make me another intelligence con. Your armies have both sustained casualties. There is no clear winner yet.
18.
All right. Gil, your adaption carries you for several turns, but Lucian, with a just deeper understanding of the game itself and the strategies that go into it, begins to make a push against you. It's down to the... wait, what did they roll?
Well, no, he rolled a 16. She got an 18, but
no, I added my proficiency.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I'm saying. So they both rolled 16. It's just she had proficiency. So.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like the fact that they know the rules, essentially. And while it's not an overwhelming victory, you are starting to make a good push against him. One final contest. Lucian, you will have advantage on this one. Gil, you will have disadvantage.
Ooh. Doesn't look good.
Oh, I have a 24.
24? Where are you getting 24?
I got a 22 and I did 2.
What? 22? How are you getting 22?
I had a 19.
Yeah, and then
Plus
add
3.
intelligence and add proficiency.
Oh, you got intelligence. And you had intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It's all good. Gil?
17.
All right. Gil, by this point, you are at least getting a like a decent understanding of the game, but by now Lucian has pushed very hard against you, and it's difficult for you to recover. And after a tough fight, Lucian manages to overwhelm you and checkmate you.
Oh,
You know, you shouldn't talk so big.
yeah. I'm not as stupid as you thought, at least.
Did okay. I think it's just more of, you know, you with your military background, you know how to say that, but not as good as.
Get wrecked.
You hear that in the background?
Gil, as Lucian mentions your military service, you see Varen turn to you with interest, and as you two very, very tensely call the game, Varen starts to set his board back into its proper place and start getting ready to pack it away again. But as he does so, he looks to you, Gil. You have also served, yes?
Yeah, a bit.
He gives a smile and a nod. I as well. It's nice seeing fellow soldier. And he gives a salute that's a bit foreign to you, but you can recognize that it is clearly a distinctly military salute.
I'll return my own.
As he packs the game away, he smiles to you and says, "Do not take loss hard. All people have things they are good at and things they are bad at."
True. She's pretty weak.
I am not a fighter. I am a intellect. I can spell, but I'm not trained.
He gives a nod. Not all strength is in muscles.
Very well said.
Yeah, his wisdom is max.
As the games start to end, Raccoon at this point probably pulls out her penny whistle and starts playing.
All right. Make me a performance check, and I'll say advantage because you probably do this regularly. It won't be too hard to win the crowd over because most of these people are either regulars or at least passingly familiar with you.
As a natural 20.
Nice.
All right, and as the afternoon sun begins to beat down on the city, Raccoon, you give a fantastic penny whistle performance. And the orcs and giant kin clap and even begin to sort of improvisedly sing along. And Gil and Lucian, you get the impression that this is something Raccoon does fairly regularly. So it almost kind of comes across like the patrons of the tavern started improvising lyrics, and now it's almost become a shanty in and of itself that they have gotten used to performing. And Varen and a few of the other orc gamblers kind of toss coins to you as they pass to head up to their runes, Raccoon. By the time your performance ends, you will have in total 15 gold.
Heck yeah! Money!
Raccoon, as you scrounge, our view will begin to pan across the city, almost entirely on the opposite side of it, in fact. Zephyr, you have spent the better part of the day heading towards the mansion that you know the nobility is currently staying in. You're in a more densely populated part of the city, and there's more buildings and alleyways for you to slink and slide between. And eventually, the buildings and streets begin to putter out slightly as you start to enter a less developed part of Mercurial. And you find yourself at the edge of the streets where they taper off to somewhat moist marshland grass. And you can tell that this is still definitely part of the mire and swamp that you had been in outside the city, but it's been cleaned and terraformed slightly to be a bit more appealing and hospitable, if still having that distinctive swampy aesthetic. The afternoon sun is almost entirely blocked by massive towering willow trees that form a umbrella-like canopy over before you. You can see fenced off slightly from the rest of the city. It's there are open gates you can go through, but there's iron fences blocking it, and you can see a massive stretch of garden with several tables and chairs set up, and you can already see several people sitting at various tables and making conversation, and you can see some lights in the mansion as well. And the mansion itself, now that you're closer, is an almost temple-esque building, as it has very fine clay and wood craftsmanship, but the roof is this very intricate stained glass design with a light blue and gray color scheme to it, although you can't make out the designs in the kind of conflicting lights of the shaded canopy with the occasional bit of afternoon sun streaking through. But you can see the gardens before you with people already hosting small little gatherings for those they know, and the mansion is clearly being inhabited. What would you like to do?
So the sun is being blocked, you said?
Yeah, for the most part. There's occasional bits where it sneaks through, but yeah, for the most part, the willow trees almost entirely block only the sections between trees get a lot of sunlight.
Right, so I won't be there. So it's basically a big mansion with a gated fence.
Yeah, basically in front of you, as the streets taper off into marshland, there's a fence, but with an open gate you can freely walk through if you wish, and a wide open garden in the shade of the willow trees, where you can see tables and chairs of people just attending to their business, essentially, a few conversations happening. And the mansion and a small dirt path with a few stones kind of tossed on it to give it more presentability leads to the steps of the mansion itself.
I guess I'm gonna go to the mansion.
Okay. All right. So you enter the gated garden and begin to make your way towards the mansion. Thankfully, most of the, as far as you can see offhand, the people in attendance don't pay you too much mind. But as you approach the mansion, you see a tall giant wielding a large, nasty-looking club. Who he doesn't seem hostile, but he just kind of looks down at you as you approach, and kind of looks you up and down and pulls another slab of wood with parchment on it, and nods to you. Nim, please.
I don't think I'm on that list. I'm just exploring, seeing the sights.
Most sites are in city. Move along, please.
Will do.
He kind of gives you a small bow. Thank you.
All right. Can I go around? Can I go to the back of the mansion?
Sure. So you kind of snake around. Are you trying to do this stealthily or just kind of doing your own business?
I guess I'd try to do it stealthily.
Okay. So make me a stealth check.
11.
All right. So you start winding around the mansion, kind of checking the guests at the small tables to see if anyone's paying you mind. And there isn't really a back to the mansion, as far as you can tell. It appears that basically the mansion is built on and slightly into the a hillside. So as you get to about halfway around the mansion, the well kept moist grass starts to taper into thick underbrush. You can continue if you like, but as far as you can tell at a glance, it doesn't look like there's much going on back here. It appears like it's just like thick plant life, basically.
So I could go in the back, but it's just there's not much to look at.
Yeah, you make a perception check if you want. I'm just saying at a glance. You don't. It doesn't look like there'd be anything back here. It's basically just like thick plant life, circling around the back.
Yeah. I guess I'll make a perception. Is it? Is the sun on me?
No. You are shaded under a willow tree.
Good. Okay, not very good. That would be an 8.
Taking a look, you do not see basically you look around, you kind of crane your neck, and you just see like a stretch of like thick, almost jungle-like underbrush and trees going around the mansion.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go to the back of the mansion, and I would like to climb up the back of the mansion.
Okay. Do you have a way of doing that?
I have second story work, which climbing no longer costs you extra movement. I don't know if it's. I don't have anything else other than
that. Well, I will say that like because the construction of it is mostly smooth. I will say, looking up, you do see that there is a second floor balcony that you could, in theory, try to get to. But even with second story work, like there's just you can try, but just at a glance, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot that's gonna give you a foothold, essentially.
Let's see. What can I use? Pikes? No. So I will improvise. I would like to use my daggers as pikes.
Okay. So you pull out your daggers and start getting ready. However, before you make your check, your ears kind of flick slightly, and you hear the sound of someone going through the underbrush behind you.
I guess, does it sound like it's coming towards me, or just I hear a sound behind me?
It does sound like it's coming towards you, because overall, this part of the jungle is, it's in the walls of the city, so it's like, there's not as far as you can tell, at least there's not exactly wild animals, but you can definitely hear something making its way towards you.
Let's see if I can get ready for a fight. Yes, I will turn around and see what's approaching me if I can.
Okay. So you turn, you keep your hands on your daggers, and you wait. And sure enough, pushing aside a particularly large, thick, marshy fern, stepping in front of you as you're basically in this like back area of the mansion, you see stepping into view a tall, elvish figure with very tan skin. You see they have dark black hair, somewhat similar to Gil's own, but it's shaved in almost a perfect buzz cut, although you can see the bangs starting to kind of grow back, and they haven't really been tended to. they, as they step into view, so you see this black-haired but somewhat shaven elf with tan skin stepping out, and he just kind of looks at you almost casually. You see that he has very relaxed posture and facial expression, and you can see he's dressed up very fancily. You can see the waist and legs of his outfit are obviously a bit dirtied and moistened from going through the undergrowth, presumably to follow you. Uh, and as you're looking at that, your eyes are drawn to something. You see hanging from his belt a small, almost like about lantern-sized object, and you initially think it probably is a lantern from the way it looks, but you recognize that this is not a lantern. It is a small cage in which you can see a small, huddled up, pale white creature. And as this snappily dressed tan elf looks you up and down, he looks up to the balcony that you were preparing to jump to, then looks back at you and cracks a smile. And you can see he has somewhat buck teeth with a kind of gap in between them, and says, "Having a bit of trouble, are we?"
I'm not sure.
He crosses his arms behind his back and looks up at the balcony and looks back to you, and says, "I presume it's safe to assume that your name is not on the guest."
I don't believe so.
He smiles and nods. So, are we looking at your simple petty theft, or do you have some business and the misfortune of your name being misplaced? And you can see he doesn't actually do it, but you can almost hear the air quotes on misplaced.
I just have some business I want to take care of.
He tilts his head to the side and seems fairly curious and says, "What sort of business needs tending to?"
Well,
The business kind.
it's none of your business, kind.
My business is Nunya.
It is something I was hired to do. I would like to do my very best to get it done.
He smiles, and his eyes kind of narrow slightly, and he says, "Oh, very interesting. Well, this is a rather awkward situation then for both of us, isn't it?" And he gestures up to the balcony and says, "My own room and those of my compatriots are not too far from that very balcony, and I'd hate to discover that a small little thing was rummaging through my belongings. But at the same time, he kind of gets kind of doesn't kneel, but like essentially like props himself up in a squat to look you in the eye. And you just take into account when he does that, he's a very tall guy, even for an elf. And as he puts his arms on his knees casually to look at you, he says, "As someone who clearly is interested in their fair share of exchange of favors and commodities and that sort of thing, I think you probably understand just as well as I do that information is some of the most valuable things in the world."
I can agree.
He smiles and says, "Okay, then. How about an arrangement? You tell me the truth about why you're here and what you're looking for," and he kind of pushes against his knees to stand back up to his full height. "And in exchange, I can get you in easily."
As long as I can keep my client unnamed.
He tilts his head to the side and kind of taps his foot. Make me a persuasion check.
Eight.
He kind of pops a smirk and says, "Well, I'm afraid whatever other information you could give me, but an identity, won't exactly be what I'm looking for. But I may be willing to compromise if you can give me anything that I could use to identify them. I assure you there won't be any repercussions. I just like to know things." And you walking in here as if you own the place, not bothering to hide yourself until you got to the front gates, and the brute force approach appears to have failed you. I'd say that you're not necessarily in the position to bargain with me.
Hmm. Well, from the sounds of it, then that just means we just don't have a deal. Guess I will be on my leave.
He puts his hands in his pockets and kind of shakes his head side to side and says, "And why do you think I'm going to let information walk away from me?"
Well, I do have information and is willing and am willing to share some, but not all. If you're not okay with that, then well, what is there to do then?
He he kind of smiles and tilts his head. "Shrewd, very shrewd. I want a description. You don't have to give me a name, but I want identifiable features I can keep on hand should things go away that I may or may not want them. And if it makes, let's be honest with each other, cards on the table." And he reaches into his overcoat and pulls, while you're not intimately familiar, it is easily recognizable as a pistol, and raises it and points it in the air. "If we do not have a deal, I pull the trigger, and the gods come."
Hmm.
A conundrum.
I'll take a description, but nothing less. And I'm feeling generous. He gets down on his knees again, but keeps his pistol raised to the air. "If you want information I happen to possess, then I'll freely make a trade. But," and he raises a finger, "you may not ask me what you want to know until the deal is complete. So no cheating by seeing what I know before asking me."
I understand. Hmm. Well, I would like to ask one question though. How descriptive would I have to be?
He smiles. "Negotiations, negotiations. Descriptive enough to where I could feasibly have someone put together a sketch of them."
Hmm. Almost just sounds like you just say, "Hey, tell me who is this person?"
He raises a finger and says, "I have already altered the deal to not force you to give me a name, but I'm afraid I'm going to need more to go on than whatever vague tidbits you think may be worth entry into this mansion."
Hmm. In all honesty, I don't even know if this mansion will have the information I need.
Well,
I
perhaps
recognize.
that's the question I can answer for you.
I guess probably against my better judgment, I will take you on your offer.
He stays in his squat and keeps his pistol in the air, but you can hear him adjust the hammer to not be like ready to be pulled at a moment's notice, and says, "But I'm a just and benevolent negotiator. So how does this sound? You describe them, and I will tell you when I have enough, and you may stop." After all, not exactly fair if you part with more than what you think is exactly fair for our deal.
Huh. Just gonna analyze these images that I just thought of. All right. Get my dice ready. This is probably not gonna work well, but I guess we'll start my description.
All right.
Um. I apologize.
Oh my god.
What are you doing?
My client is a very tall person like yourself.
Oh no. Oh.
Zephyr, you motherfucker.
I know, right?
Hey,
He will kill you.
I mean,
I already see where this is going.
yeah, quite obvious. Oh, look, I like to draw. But alright, yeah, I get color now. I can see that he's also has a tan. I'm guessing similar to yours. I mean, honestly, you resemble him quite well.
Interesting.
I guess that's
Zephyr got the giggles.
I'm just like, he's a muscular.
Is this what you call revenge?
Revenge. Man, this is what I call not giving away my father, but instead give away you. You already know you shouldn't trust him, so.
Yeah.
But yes. Well, I'm not sure I should give this away, but he's also a elf.
He kind of rests his chin on his hand, and finally, the gun slowly begins to lower. Make me a deception check with advantage, because you did give a convincing description, but you are lying about who your client is.
You're gonna get it, Zephyr.
Ooh, first one's a 30-20. And
Shit.
yeah, it's a 30-20.
He looks you up and down, smiles, and puts the gun back into his coat, pushes against his knees to stand up, and gestures the way he had come in through the underbrush. Very well. If you don't mind, would you cut me a path back through? I refuse to damage my good suit any further than I already have. And he kind of adjusts his lapel and smiles. And as I said, I'm a fair man. Cut me a path, and on the way, we can privately discuss what information you'd like. And do you do as he asks?
Well, I don't remember that being part of the deal, but I guess as long as I get my information, I am willing.
All right. So you begin to, with your daggers, essentially machete your way through the undergrowth, and once you're about once you're like several feet in and he's following behind you, just you can see him kind of keeping his distance so as to not get any of the dirt and leaves you're tossing up on his suit. And after a moment's pause, he speaks up, and I'll tell you what. As a thank you for being honest, let it not be said that I punish those who listen to me. You may ask me 3 questions, but when you get to one that I know the answer to, that will be the information you get. But that means you get 2 questions that I don't know the answer to, or simply refuse to tell you.
What?
That confused me as well.
I got it.
Basically, you have 3 wishes.
Yeah. So for context, he had initially offered you 1 question, but whether he knew the answer or not, that would be it. When you asked. Here, he's saying you get 3,
Tries.
but when you get one that he knows, that will be the one. But that means you get 2 chances to fail without losing the chance entirely.
Basically, I can ask him 3 questions. I can ask him up to 3 questions as long.
Mhm.
I guess while I'm hacking away at this path, I guess I don't even know where we're going.
He's basically just directing you to go back the way he had come, which is more or less the same path you went.
Oh, was it? Okay. Probably think of the answer or these questions sooner. Well, do you is there anyone that lives in this mansion or is resident at the moment that you would see be a threat?
He smiles and says, "The mansion is currently occupied by nobility and those with significant personal or political power, so I would say just about everyone, myself included, are very dangerous. But that feels somewhat cheap to me. So, would you care to specify a bit more what sort of danger you're referring to? Just about anyone outside of the garden or currently in the mansion could ruin you with but a word. But physical threats are a bit more.
Well, I more or less mean like someone who was looking to go to war.
He smiles and crosses his arms in thought as you continue to hack away at the underbrush. And once you reach the point where you would get back into the garden, he kind of pushes past you to exit first, but gestures for you to follow him. And as you exit the underbrush, he turns to you and smiles. Everyone, whether they realize it or not. Follow me.
All right.
As you walk across the garden with your new ally, quote unquote, leading you, he eventually looks over his shoulder somewhat casually at you and says, "By the way, I don't believe I caught your name. I prefer to know the names of those I do business with, but I understand if you prefer to keep things somewhat anonymous. But
Well, seeing as though I've already told you a lot of information as it is, I think it's fair that you would share your name first."
he stops and turns to you, and his expression is kind of vague, and he's just kind of looking you up and down before finally he smiles and holds a very lanky, bony hand out to you for you to shake. Dr. Wattson, PhD.
No.
Screaming.
Do not Sherlock Holmes us.
Fuck yes. Do it.
I'm guessing now, is there going to be a murder at the party?
I mean, thing is, we
Listen.
might be the
Murder
murderer.
goes
Like,
foul.
we might be the one who did the murder.
True.
But, I guess I will go to shake his hand, and be like, Gil, no.
That'd be awesome.
That's fucking hilarious.
Wait, what did he say?
I was joking.
Now he was just jokingly saying, "What if he said Gil?"
Gil. But I will give him my name and be like, my name is Zephyr. Lucy, just make it all confusing.
Yeah.
Raccoon.
Well, I don't know you that much yet, so
Okay. So do you give him your full name or just Zephyr?
I'll just give him Zephyr.
Wait, if he said raccoon, it'd be like a moment of like, that's an obvious fake name, while somebody actually has that name.
It's like, it's an animal.
He kind of smiles and tilts his head and says, "Pleasure." He stands up and begins to lead you towards the gate, or rather the door. Do you follow?
I guess. I mean, it's gonna be interesting.
You approach the door again, and you see the giant kind of narrow his eyes at you suspiciously, but Dr. Wattson approaches him and kind of basically backhand jabs him like with his knuckles at the giant's knee and says, "I find it somewhat offensive to my personage and title that you don't see fit to let my servant enter the mansion freely."
I'm telling
Austin, did you hear me?
Rip.
Rip.
What, did someone like say something to me? Like I just heard him say about my servant.
Well, yeah. My Discord was looking a little funky, so I was seeing if I cut out or if it was just like nobody reacted. So you did hear what the doctor said?
Yes, that I
Okay.
was his servant and that I should have free access.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't expect it. It's just again, Discord's looking funky, and I didn't have reactions to determine if I was. My internet's just been kind of all over the place lately. Anyway, sorry, not the point.
I don't like this
So,
dude.
the giant kind of nervously nods and steps out of the way and gestures towards the large oaken double doors that lead into the mansion. And the doctor turns to you with a smile, Zephyr. Shall we?
No,
Okay.
you shall not.
No, walk away. I follow.
He pushes open the doors, and the two of you enter. You find yourself in a very, it's a very unusual layout, but it's very catching to the eye. As the oaken doors shut behind you, you find yourself in almost a hotel-esque layout where it's basically just one big hallway that circles around a massive central pillar that the rooms appear to be built into. As you can see, several double doors, smaller than the one to get in, but still very nice. And you can see the doors in here are made of a very fine laminated wood and have bejewelments on them. And there is no light source in here. Rather, the stained glass ceiling of this building is built above the willow canopy, so the sunlight is able to streak in, and because of the blue-gray color of the stained glass, it casts the whole area around you in almost this moonlight coloring. and looking around, you can see the hallway circles, and you can see these bedazzled, well-kept, fancy-looking doors that, with rooms going into the massive pillar on the inside. And looking above you, you can see a jutting out part of the middle of the pillar that essentially acts as the second floor. But you can see up to it, and you can see more doors lining the pillar that high up. And as you take in the view, the doctor turns on his heel and looks down at you and says, "Nobility on the top floor, those with personal or political power on the bottom, and guards patrol more or less constantly, but I'd say you have a 3-minute window before a patrol passes. Good." And with that, the doctor steps past you and back out to the garden.
Alright. Guess,
Well,
I'm going to explore what I can.
Okay.
he did.
Probably.
All right. So, you gonna stealth this?
Nice knowing you.
Should I stealth this? Yeah, I guess I'll stealth it.
Oh,
All right. Go for it.
bye.
Yeah, if I must.
Well, I was thinking maybe I can use the whole "I'm his servant." If I'm looking like I'm stealthing, it's not gonna look good. I shouldn't.
I mean, he really did already give you an out.
Yeah, he already used his name for me, but.
Dr. Wattson, PhD.
7.
All right. You think you're stealthed. There are several large pots and plants on the inside, just kind of circling around that you can take the time to hide in should a patrol pass by. All of the doors appear to be more or less identical. So any preference on like what you would like to do? So you know that the second floor is where the essentially the high nobility, like the kings and queens, stay, and the bottom floor is just for like people who had enough power to get a ticket.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to think to myself, why did I come here again?
You said you wanted something.
Well, I'm just trying to do reconnaissance since the other party members are busy partying. I guess I will look into a room.
Okay, just the nearest one.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So you approach and you give the handle of the door a experimental tug, and it appears to be locked.
Can I make a perception check to see if there's cards?
Yeah, go for it.
That'll be a dirty 20.
Okay. You do not see a patrol coming. Yeah, because all you basically did was enter, have the conversation with the doctor. He left. You kind of scoped out potential hiding places, and then approached the nearest door. So,
It was 3 minutes, yeah, basically.
However, I will say that as you're like deciding what to do and keeping an ear out, you can hear the heavy footsteps of giants on the floor above you.
Or above me. Why am I in this place? What am I even going for? But I'm in here. I accept what I've done.
Why is he there?
I'm in here. I've accepted what I've done, and I will do my best to get information. Those are the reasons I was trying to get information, but what am I looking for exactly is the question. But
You're going too far down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, you got so focused on what you could do that you didn't think about what you should do.
Now I'm just too far gone in, man. um,
Yeah, you're gonna go through all this work to get in here and then just leave like, well, I can't think of anything useful I'll get out of this.
do I have anything I can use?
You're gonna have to do the same thing getting out.
Well, I mean, no, I can just say the people outside the gate see me as, or people at the gate see me as his servant now. Question is, should I use his name? That's what I'm thinking about. He's using his name to get around the castle, hopefully. But
It very well could be a fake name too.
it could be. I mean, I didn't give him a fake name. But I will. I'm already here. Going back empty-handed would just make me look stupid. Lucy would probably hold it against me. So, with that thought, I will keep going.
He got a reputation. All right.
I guess I will go down a corridor and try to check the doors. See if I can find one that's open.
Okay. All right, easy enough to do. I'll say, so make me a stealth check because you are basically like traveling around, so you're almost certainly going to run into a patrol, and make me a perception check on just like keeping an eye on your surroundings and like, you know,
which one am I doing first?
stealth and perception, like you're like 2 rolls.
I know, but which one should I do? What am I doing first? Am I doing stealth?
Yeah. Go for stealth.
Not very sneaky today. Let's see. 5 plus 3. Mm-hmm. That'll be 8. And then, how perceptive I am of these guards that are probably 19.
Okay.
I got super eyes, but I can't hide for crap.
So you begin quietly, taking the time to like basically always be within sprinting distance of a hiding place. You begin to check the doors, but after you hit the second or third locked door, the thought occurs to you like, maybe I'll just see which ones like sound like something's going on. And as you get about the full way towards the back, so like you've circled around but not come full circle, you press your ear up against a door and you give an experimental tug, and it does appear to be locked, but you can hear voices inside. And you kind of step back and start to ponder like what to do next, and you hear the footsteps of a giant, and you start pulling back and looking around for a hiding spot, but the patrol turns the corner. The patrol, quote unquote, is simply a single giant wielding a club, but the giant does see you before you can make a move to a hiding place, and he doesn't seem immediately hostile, but he does start stomping towards you. What would you like to do?
Get the fuck out of there.
Austin?
I keep forgetting I mute myself. But yeah,
Good
job. Well, yeah, running would just set off alarms. So, being the little boy I am, I'm going to confidently, with like I belong here totally. Just casually try to walk past him.
All right. So, you begin to walk past the cart, but as you get like level with him, he holds up a meaty hand to block your path, and looks down to you. Who are you?
I am nothing but a humble servant.
He kind of narrows his eyes a bit, and kind of licks his lips, not like in a hungry way, just kind of in like a thoughtful, like kind of like taking his time to think before he speaks kind of way, and says, "Why is a servant out?"
Um, if I'm to be honest, which I'm not proud to say it, but frankly, I am lost.
He immediately smiles in just a friendly way and kind of pats you gently on the head, and says, "It's okay. I get lost too. Who are you looking for?"
Yeah, you know, someone in royal. I'm trying to think. His name. I am looking for. I would like to use the the. I would like to use the man's name. I would be like, I am looking for this man's room.
Okay. You're gonna use the doctor's name.
Yeah.
Okay. You give him the name Dr. Wattson, and he gives a slow nod, and smiles and says, "Well, you almost got it." And he gestures to the door ahead of the, like, basically you had kept circling around the door right next to the one you were just trying, that you had heard voices in.
I greatly appreciate it.
He smiles and nods. "It's okay. I know how it is to be lost." And he turns around, but kind of stops and looks down to you and kind of narrows his eyes and says, "Is the doctor expecting you?"
Uh, I don't think so. I'm here to make a delivery.
"What kind of delivery?"
Um, have that. I can't use that. Get rid of that out of my inventory. Um, I'm going to. I'm going to show him my ring of protection. Be like, I'm here to deliver this ring.
"Why does he need a ring?"
I mean, I couldn't tell you. I was simply told to hand this ring over to him, and
Make me a deception check, but I'll give you advantage.
all right.
There's a reason for it, but it'll come up in dialogue.
Yeah. Deception. There it is. 11 and. Ooh. 11 and 10. So 11.
Okay. If any of the rest of you were present, you would probably see through it. Like, Zephyr's not a terrible liar, but he's not really a fantastic one either. He tends to be very straightforward about things. But Zephyr, even though you kind of are like, you can feel your lips starting to dry and you're starting to immediately think, how do I fight him or get past him to attack me?
Fight him.
But
There's no fighting him.
after a moment, the giant closes his eyes and nods and says, "Well, I know he likes to collect things like that. I guess it's okay. Do you have the key?"
No, I wasn't told of any key. I was just.
If he's a guard, how would he know that?
Guard. What?
Or what? The giant's a guard, isn't he?
Yeah.
If he was a guard, how would he know?
Or you know what?
What Wattson does in his spare time, collection-wise.
It's a good question.
Maybe he knows him.
He knows things, you know, guards see
He
things.
drinks and he knows things.
Yeah, I was not given a key. I was simply gonna, I guess, knock on the door if I got no answer. I would either come back tomorrow or wait for him. I would like to make this delivery.
He kind of gestures for you to follow and steps over to the door next to the one you were previously checking, and gives a very gentle for him, but it's still a pretty resounding knock. And as you would probably guess, no answer. And after a moment, he kind of bites his lip and says, I guess I can let you in. I'll wait for you to be done, but don't touch anything. He does not like his things being touched.
Well, I mean, my mission's not to touch things, so I don't see why I would.
He kind of gives a slow nod. Okay. And pulls a small ring of keys from his belt. Very small for his massive fingers, but he's able to, in an agonizingly slow process because of his big meaty fingers, manages to pick out one of the keys from the ring and unlocks the door and pushes it open. And he kind of kneels down and says, the door is too small for me. I will wait here.
Well, again, I very much appreciate what you've done for me.
It's okay. I get lost sometimes too.
I guess I will enter the room.
Okay. You enter and you find yourself in a luxurious, lavishly decorated room. To your immediate left, you see a massive queen-sized velvet silken bed with braided gold, like that braided gold curtain drawing material hanging over it. You see you can see a big open area where there's like a kitchen and just a bunch of just kind of little bits of recreational stuff just to keep someone occupied while staying here, and a door that you presume leads to a closet of some kind. To your right, you see a massive wardrobe and another door. And to your left, across the bedroom, you see a additional door. So you have the massive bedroom, the kitchen and recreational area, wardrobe, two doors, one on either side of you, and what appears to be a closet across where the kitchen and recreational stuff is. The giant leaves the door open, but you can hear him just take a seat and wait for you. What would you like to do?
Well, first, when I enter the room, I'm going to take off my ring of protection, because I'm supposed to quote unquote deliver that, but I'm going to instead put that in my pocket.
All right, smart.
Yes. And I guess since I have a little bit of time, I would like to just see what's in this room. Like, if anything's like of value. Well.
Okay. Make me an investigation check. See what you find.
21.
Nice. All right. So you basically you crack your knuckles and you start getting to work. This is your thing. You know how to do this. And basically, in the hands of most of the other party members, they would basically be tearing this room upside down to do what the searching you're doing. But you masterfully like check every square inch of it, but making it look like no one had ever been there. You're just gonna give like a good once over of the room.
Pretty much. I need to be careful. If I do steal something, I need to be something that it wouldn't
Won't be
notice.
missed.
Yeah.
All right. Checking the room to the right, or like the door to the right, rather. You open it carefully so as to not alert the guard, and it appears to be a relatively simple storage room. You can see a basically picture it as almost being like a walk-in closet, but rather than being places to hang clothing because there's the wardrobe next to it, you see the walls are lined with uh, just personal possessions and trinkets, and your eyes start to glitter as you see shelves and rows of rings and medallions, and you even see like what almost appears to be a very light, like paper thin chainmail like material. And up towards the top, you can see daggers and guns, all very exotically made and finely crafted. You're not an expert, but all of this screams magic items. You compose yourself and continue your search just to make sure you take a look at everything. The wardrobe contains a bunch of almost identical suits to the ones you'd seen him in, but they're all in slightly different shades. Although almost all of them have a color scheme of blue and gold. Although you do see one suit that kind of catches your eye with a distinctive green and gold color scheme. But yeah, it's just suits as far as you can see. You even give a few of them kind of quick frisks to see if there's anything in the pockets, but you don't find anything. In the kitchen and recreational space, nothing of particular interest. He seems like he keeps things very tidy, so you don't find any like food left out or anything. And it appears like the recreational area hasn't really been used at all. You give the sheets and bed a quick check. It does not appear to have hidden anything. You pull open the drawer of the side table, and you see several papers and documents. And checking the final door, it appears to just be a bathroom.
Oh no, that bathroom.
And checking the closet of like that's like essentially in between the recreational area and the kitchen. You find yourself in a very like you're almost confused, thinking that you somehow opened the wrong door because it's just like a simple like 10 by 10 stone room, like literally nothing in it. But that's everything you're able to find from a pretty respectably thorough check without like taking time to investigate every little thing. So what would you like to do?
Have to cut my losses. I will. I mean, seeing that there's nothing here that would have been like obvious to be missed, I will proceed to walk out of the room, seeing that a job well done.
Okay. The giant smiles as you exit the room. Make the delivery okay?
Peachy.
He smiles and pulls the doors shut and locks them, and stands up and smiles down to you. Do you need me to help you get back out?
I don't believe so. I mean, I know the way. I know what I should know the way out, and the guards should know that I was here.
He smiles and gives a nod. Okay. And he smiles. Take care, little friend. And starts to step past you to continue the way he was going when you first ran into him.
Frustrated, he will.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. I mean, it's just I could have done something better. Like I could have used. Technically, I could have used the same thing, but with my family's name. Just see if I meet up with them like that. But I'm going to. I guess I'm gonna proceed to walk out.
Okay. You just basically almost like follow in the guard's wake and get to the front doors and open them again. You are back in the garden of the mansion. The guard at the door kind of gives you a kind of cautious, almost afraid nod as you exit and just crosses his hands and watches the garden, like almost as if he's trying really hard not to look at you.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing here is I'm a servant to, my father / king. I'm a servant. I'm a quote unquote servant to this doctor man, and I've describedly said I'm a servant to Gil. I'm a very.
It's been a busy day for you.
You're like a cheating servant. You're cheating.
Cheating servant. This is totally not gonna bite me in the butt. It's like, who are you serving? I mean,
It would.
This is why you don't give conflicting cover stories.
Why you don't also use your real name?
Well, I only gave the real name to
Dr. Wattson.
Yeah.
And he could easily probably be the worst out of them.
Could be. But nonetheless, if it comes bite me in the butt, it shouldn't bite. Go back to my king.
I just realized you said he's nobility, right?
I mean, I believe so.
The Dr. Wattson.
You've Zephyr, you found his room on the first floor, so
Like
as far
small.
as so basically according to him and the guards, at least, that means he's not nobility, but he does hold some position of authority or power.
I'm just saying, like, what if he actually recognized that Zephyr somehow or something, considering, like,
It's
maybe
quite
he
possible.
knows.
But
Using your name confirmed it.
Confirmed it. Maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out later on, but yeah, Zephyr will. I guess since it's getting late, I'll head back to town.
Okay, so you're just heading back to Nortwicks?
Yep.
All right. So it's going to take you the better part of the afternoon to get back there. We pan back to Nortwicks. Raccoon, Lucian, and Gil, is there anything you guys would like to do before nightfall and heading to your rooms?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, how many days for them until the ball?
Since it's about to be nightfall, it'll be about 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to.
Cutting out.
Yeah, you're cutting out one more time.
Hurry up.
Hear me?
Or, well, we heard that
You're
part at
cutting
least.
out.
Yeah.
So long.
Farewell.
Avida saying goodbye.
Yeah.
You hear me? Hello?
For now, at least.
Okay.
For now.
So I want to go out onto the street and I want to perform and hopefully win back some gold.
Can you actually play anything?
I didn't say I was going to play anything.
So, what kind of performance are you giving?
I'm
Sword
gonna
toss.
juggle knives.
Can you?
Okay.
Called it.
No. Can you even do that?
I'm gonna find out.
Oh God.
Natural
All right.
one. Come on,
No, no.
stab
Hey.
yourself. Natural one.
No. Can Raccoon offer to teach him because she's a bard and she knows performance stuff? If he wants to
You
know.
can. Yeah, you can if you can try.
He's like, does he want to accept your offer?
Yeah.
Do you accept her offer?
Yes.
Oh my
All
God.
right.
Okay, so she sees like Gil like over in a corner trying to like sneakily juggle like daggers without anybody watching him fail, and she's just like, "Do you need any help with this?"
A little bit.
A little bit. Eat back.
Yeah.
All right. So she's going to offer to help by giving like a small example of her own with her tiny daggers.
Mm.
Oh my goodness, that's so cute.
She scowls at him. It's not cute. It's dangerous. One wrong move and they could stab your eyeball out.
You're right. Sorry. Very dangerous.
Dangerous, but also cute.
It's cuterous.
All right. Gil, with Raccoon giving you a bit of a hand as you head out into the streets, make me a performance check with advantage because someone was helping you.
Come on, 2 nat ones.
Do not one.
Oh, shut up.
Lucian's just gonna watch.
All right.
Oh.
It's not over yet.
That's a great start.
Sounds like the first roll was amazing. Mm-hmm.
Shit. This is an 8. I got an 8.
All right. Gil, with Raccoon's guidance, you're able to give a passable juggle. You occasionally like nick your fingertips a bit, but you're used to pain, so you power through. However, as you are outside performing, it's starting to get late now, and most people are either exiting Nortwicks or just turning in for the night. So not too many people are there to witness your performance outside of Raccoon and Lucian, and those who do pass by just either don't have money on them or are just heading to bed. So your performance is passable, but nobody parts with spare change for you.
Raccoon will clap for him and says, "Yeah, you did good for a first time. Here," and she like tosses him a silver.
I will also give him a pity silver.
Pity silver.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you know.
Thanks, little raccoon, for your lesson.
What? No, thank you for me. I gave you a silver.
I couldn't get that far yet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
Raccoon
Alright.
just kind of says to him, "We'll work on it."
I hope nobody thinks I'm just like bullying
No.
Gil. Like,
Nah.
I am.
Yeah, that's obvious.
all right, so as your performance draws to a somewhat disappointing close, but you have 2 more silver to your name, you guys see Zephyr approaching Norwicks.
Oh look, it's Lizard Boy. What did you do? You look guilty.
I look guilty. I don't look guilty.
Does he look guilty?
You look like you.
Well, Zephyr, do you feel guilty?
His face always looks
Guilty.
like that to me.
Oh, so it's just his face. Okay, that makes
I mean, he's not looking guilty. He's just looking disappointed. That's all.
Those tend to go hand in hand.
No, well, guilty is.
You're disappointed in yourself when you're guilty.
It's true.
Yeah, so Zephyr just seems more just disappointed than anything.
But.
I
Well.
still don't trust you.
The feeling's mutual.
And what have I done to not earn your trust? I've been nothing but straightforward.
We don't stab each other in the back. I stabbed you in the gut.
Yeah, like he says, if I'm going to stab you, I'm gonna stab you in while you're looking at me.
While you're looking at me.
I don't think currently stabbing is what we need at the moment.
I'm not going to stab him. I'm just saying that if I was going to stab him, I would do it, while he's looking at me, not while his back is turned. Unlike some people that we know.
Raccoon does not believe this statement that stabbing is not going to happen.
They're stabbing it. It's going to be stabbing it at some point.
Well, Gil does still have the knives out. So it's like, should he?
What?
Let the lizard boy explain where he was before we try to murder him.
Try to murder me? What?
You guys
There
were
was too many
at party,
guards.
correct?
You
You guys were at party, correct?
We more so Gil and me. Zephyr is only here for the money.
if that's what you want to believe, go ahead.
Oh, is there another reason? I mean, other than your dad told you to.
Well, that's not to say that I'm not in it for the money. I definitely like the shinies.
Of course.
I'm just saying there's, more to life than money.
Plus, he sold us out for money.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Which is why we don't trust him.
And-
But you are a party now?
Well, we have an understanding.
like.
I don't.
It's complicated.
To put it simple,
Psychos.
fuck with us, we kill you.
More so,
You cut out.
Did we lose her?
Hello?
Oh, she's back.
sorry. I just played Panic Attack. I'm okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm okay. I forgot what I was saying.
Or so.
Oh yes, we have an agreement. We're not really together, It's really complicated. Like we travel together. Am I explaining this right?
I guess Zephyr will pipe up.
He
Like,
fucks with us, we kill him.
we
I mean,
are mutual acquaintance. We simply have a job that we were both offered, and we're just both working on.
Okay. I
That's
sort of
very
get,
accurate.
I think. But also, no.
No. Nonetheless, what I was doing was simply trying to do my job. Unlike people I know.
we have done our job.
Oh,
We went to go talk to your father,
talk
and
to our
you all
father.
screwed us.
Okay.
How is that not doing our job?
What? I thought our job
saying
was
we
to
didn't
get
do our job.
information.
Well, I mean, that's 2 days from now. We can do other things before then.
Well,
You don't know what we've been doing while you were away.
you are true, but my guess is just nothing but tomfoolery.
Not exactly. I mean, I've got some information from the commoners and got to know some people.
And I lost a lot.
Well,
Yeah, and this guy over here decided to blow away 100 coins. But we already knew he was an idiot, so I mean, that's okay.
well, I had a comment, but I was like, nah, I shouldn't say that. Well, So what you're saying is that you know the commoners now when our job has nothing to do with them?
Well, I wouldn't say nothing.
And they know.
Yeah. Commoners usually know things.
Discord gave up on me. I'm very sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Look, you do things your way, we'll do things our way. Okay? I don't know what you were up to, you don't know what we were up to.
Sounds like
And
a
how do
deal.
I know which way to go?
So I got a question. Do I see Zephyr's money pouch?
Money pouch? What?
Zephyr.
What? Steal my money pouch?
I just want to see if I can see it and an idea of what's in, how much is in it.
Why do you want to? Why do
you care about his purse?
Because I'm broke.
He's broke and
that's
he's gonna
a
try to
you problem.
steal from me.
Yeah, that's a you problem. You're the one that decided to, like, fuck away your money.
Sorry, I'm having issues.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Discord
okay,
just wanted to be like,
yeah,
nope.
just a little bit longer. All right. So, and Zephyr, are you hiding your money pouch, or do you just kind of keep it like on your person?
Well, I mean, Zephyr, I will say no, because I don't think would even do that.
Okay. So yes, Gil, you can see his money pouch, but you'll need to make me a perception check to see if you can kind of gauge how much is in it.
It looks pretty empty.
You got the 7.
Yeah, I forgot to add the money.
Yeah, you have no idea. You can tell it's a money pouch, but you have fuck all idea how much is in it.
I mean, more than he has.
Good rolls today.
Yeah, the dice are not in our favor this fine session.
I tell you what, Zephyr.
Got the nat.
I tell you what, Zephyr. Tomorrow, all of us can do, you know, maybe something more productive in your point of view. What would be more productive for you?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, some of y'all have already made plans for tomorrow, I believe, right? Or is it a few days from now?
When is your stupid tournament?
Yeah, the tournament.
It's
It's
not
like-
stupid.
Well,
It's like on
honestly-
the last day, isn't it?
I think it's the day. I think it's the day of the bowl.
Gil, you would know this. There's practice fights up until the ball, and then the tournament will take place over the course of the ball, with the winner being announced about halfway through.
So you're not gonna go to the ball, basically.
I'll be there, just fashionably late.
The fights take place during the day, and then the like festivities are during the day, and then the formal ball is at night.
Okay. Possible. Still.
So that's not even for another.
We lost you again.
Hello?
You're good.
Okay. So I was saying it's not for another 2 days?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay.
Are you
So,
are
like-
you wanting to do like reconnaissance or something?
I think that's what Zephyr wants to do. I mean, honestly, really think it's a good idea to make, obvious.
Well, I know this area pretty well. If you need help to getting around, I know where like the darkest spots are.
That
Interesting.
might help.
So, what I'm hearing is the newest person in the party is the most useful.
Oof.
That is mean to say.
Even over yourself.
I would agree.
What?
I think she is useful, but she's not the most.
Well, I mean,
Maybe for now, but she.
yeah,
I agree. I'm probably only good for this town.
I'm only good for this town. Next town.
Okay, but that's not
Navigation
what I meant.
coupon.
That's not what I meant. I meant that we strong, you know, and this seems to be like the place. Raccoon is the most. That
Every
doesn't
other
mean that
word
we
is
won't.
cutting out for me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Stagnant. It's fine.
That's
I'm
my fault.
sorry.
Again, just a little bit. Just
I think
a little
it's
bit
my-
further.
I think it's my head. I think it's my head.
It's okay.
I think it's my headphones.
Maybe.
Do we need to call it, or you good for a
No,
little bit?
it's okay. It's okay.
So what are we saying?
Lucian was just saying that, you know, everybody has saying that, you know, just because this area is where she's most familiar doesn't make her just period.
Well, did I say she was most useful? Period. I just said.
Well, it was implied.
Oh no, Lucian's poor ego.
My ego is fine.
We're all
Worse.
I feel
My
like
ego
we
is
need a
just
group
fine.
bonding. We need a group bonding session.
A group bonding session.
Yes.
Like a
Hmm.
trust exercise.
I
What's
feel.
a trust exercise?
Well,
I feel one of those would only make it worse.
for once I agree. I don't think any of us trust each other. I mean, I trust you, Raccoon, and I just met you. More than I trust
Raccoon
these
just
balls.
kind of like raises an eyebrow at her.
I trust you more than I trust these two bozos. What?
Really?
Really?
Can
I mean,
Raccoon's just
for me, it's
Wait.
understandable.
Raccoon's gonna have a moment of just like deviousness, and behind their backs, hopefully without them noticing, cast the Zone of Truth.
Oh god.
Okay,
Oh,
make-
God.
Well, actually, I think Zone of Truth lets us. We know about it.
Yeah, I think we know. No, she knows if we pass or fail. We don't.
No.
let me check. I'll check.
Play
So,
next turn, the point
Honestly, I figured it was only a matter of time before one of you got Zone of Truth.
Yeah. An infected creature is aware of the spell and can thus avoid answering
Yeah,
the question.
you can avoid the question, but
Or-
you can't lie.
As long as you don't lie, but we are aware of the spell.
Then she doesn't cast it.
Okay.
I just thought it would have been funny.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. So, you decide against that. Is there anything? Is there any further argument the four of you want to get into?
Instead, I kind of want her to mage hand and poke Lucian in the shoulder on the side that Gil is at, making it like gilded.
Trying to do mischief.
Lucian will like swat at Gil.
I like it.
Gil's over there bringing up.
You gonna make an attack roll?
Yes, can I do an attack roll?
You're just gonna bitch slap him for damage?
Yes.
I mean,
Sure. This
An
fucking
art-
party.
an
What have I
arm attack.
Okay. Let's see. Where is
And
Listen, Raccoon may be a sweetheart, but she
16.
absolutely will get into
Miss.
18. Was that what's your modifier?
16.
16 with my modifier.
What?
She
That's not your
will get
modifier.
Miss.
So Lucian goes to take a swing at you, Gil, but you just dodge out of the way.
Stop touching me.
I didn't touch you.
You
not
totally
worth
touched
it.
me.
Not worth it. Oof. Oof.
You definitely touched.
I love how you
Yeah,
just
I
dissed
touched
you. You
you.
didn't notice.
Oh, you're gonna get your face slapped. I was like, slap him again.
Because.
All right, make another attack roll.
Fuck. 10.
Yes.
Gil just keeps dodging out of the way.
This is ridiculous.
And then while they're doing that, Zephyr, what are you doing?
Yes. You know what? I'll do a sleight of hand.
God.
Okay, what are you
This
sleight of
part.
handing?
I'm gonna put my ring back on. I never put it back on, so I'm just like, I'm missing my ring, so I'll put it back on. But I don't want them to notice.
Sure, make a sleight of hand check.
Wait, what are you doing?
Don't worry
He's
about
putting
it.
his ring of protection back on,
Oh,
Don't
okay.
worry.
but he specifically wanted it ignored. And how'd you do?
They see real well. 10.
Yeah. While you guys are basically squabbling in Raccoon, you're enjoying the show. You just see Zephyr slipping the ring he had received. Lucien and Gil, you remember this as the ring of protection he had received, or yes.
Can I roll to see if I see?
See what?
One more time.
Can I roll to see if I see him?
No, you see it.
Yeah. No, you said that's what I was saying. Like you see him putting it back
Yeah,
on.
because your passive perception would see it.
Yeah, your passive would beat it.
I was gonna say I rolled a 18.
Yeah.
So
No,
you would see
Lucian
that.
doesn't care. She's too busy trying to Gil.
So, yeah. It's just, will Gil do anything about it?
So, anything else from the four of you?
Anything else?
Does them fighting and Raccoon playing music attract any people that want to throw any money? Thinking
I'm trying to make a show.
I'll tell you what.
That's the kind of devious that Raccoon is. She will set up a fight just to gain coin.
I'll tell you what. Make me a performance check, but you have disadvantage because you're trying to alternate between performing and like convincing people to.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness! I just had a funny joke.
You gotta make a bet, like, oh, who's gonna win?
You said what was it? Performance?
Performance with disadvantage because you're trying to essentially
I'm
persuade and
modifier.
perform at the same time.
Let me check. Okay. I have a 5 on performance.
Nice.
Yeah, you're a bard. I'd hope so.
Yeah, okay.
Hey
that is
guys, I just had a thought.
first roll is a 17. Second roll is a 15.
15. What's your
Okay.
thought?
And what, Gil, before we get?
I was just gonna say, you could.
What? You
cut
cut out?
Saying it's the dance of the princess and the bear.
Give it.
All right. Raccoon, seeing opportunity, you start performing, and basically anytime someone passes close enough, you start like just kind of goading them into placing bets. And
No. She also takes her hat and she sets it on the ground.
yeah, so you put your little coonskin cap on the ground. Zephyr, you're just watching as, to your surprise, you see a few of the orc gamblers passing by and a few other patrons from Nortwick's heading in for the night, and they all just kind of laugh and smile and chuckle at the display, and a few of them toss in coins. And Lucien and Gil, as you both finally wear each other out from slap fights and dodging, Raccoon, your coonskin cap is now filled with, in total, 15.
Ew, yeah.
How much?
15 gold.
50.
15.
15. She's
I'm
going
about
to
to say.
she's going to split it between herself and the two, and Lucien and Gil,
Okay.
since they were doing stuff that she set it up.
So 5 for each.
Yeah, 5 for everyone, except for Zephyr, unfortunately.
Yeah. I wasn't part of it.
Okay.
So.
No. Hey, she'll give him like the 1 silver at the very bottom of the cap.
All right.
I'm just joking.
All right.
There was no
anything-
silver.
All right. You do not get a silver, sadly, Zephyr.
It's fine.
Alright.
I'm done with this.
Sorry, Zephyr.
Uh,
She's being a little shit right now.
so, is that everything?
I think so.
You guys retire to your rooms for the night, and you begin to settle in for sleep. Raccoon, as you start getting ready for bed, your adoptive father shows you the dress he has put together for the ball. It's a very fine and fitting to your size and comfortable, loose and comfortable, almost shawl, with a very nice autumn colored plaid of sorts on the edge.
to give like the description of what it's based off of, it's a red and gold Kokoshnik hat and a similarly colored but with a green vest seraphim.
Mhm.
But all in like the style that a little human girl would wear, but it is fit to her.
Mhm. And as he like gives it to you, he kind of holds up a hand and just kind of in that playful like half discipline that you're used to him giving you when he's trying to discourage you from being a little shit. I says, now this is important. Make sure that this does not. Don't make a mess of this. It's going to be expensive to replace, and I'm sure you want to look your best for the ball. Don't get snacks on it.
She kind of looks at him in confusion. She's like, "Then what's the point of going?"
He smiles and pulls at the almost sort of hood-like collar of it, where there's like a lot of room, and he kind of whispers in your ear, "Snacks go in rather than on."
Oh, yeah, okay, I got you. And she like starts looking for more pockets inside of the dress to be able to like hide stuff and sneak stuff. And she's like, Lorcan, I love you. This is perfect.
He smiles and pulls you into hug. I love you too, dear. He stands up and pats you on the head and starts getting ready for bed himself. Lucian.
Oh God.
That's just what you hear.
Heart attack.
You're
just
getting ready for bed. You disarm yourself of your armors and like both formal while also ready for combat materials, and start getting ready for bed. As I mentioned, most of the rooms in Nortwicks have windows that allow a view of the rather scenic and well kept city. And you take a glance out the window as you start getting ready for bed, and your heart skips a beat as you see a familiar red armored and gold cloaked figure wielding a scythe, standing on a rooftop opposite Nortwicks and staring through the window.
Shit.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
No!
I wish you could see the look on my face right now.
Why must you do this to us? Why do we have to wait an entire week?
I need time to plan.
I don't want to wait a week.
The sadness.
Start sobbing.
I'm literally
Show the picture.
Fucking wrecked.
Yeah, you really do get to see your face.
Oh my God, why would you take that picture?
So, as a bit of roundtable compliments, I'm making a habit of this in most of my campaigns. I mean, literally everyone was on their fucking A game this time around. Zephyr, you showed quite a bit of negotiation and improvisational skills. Raccoon, being a little mischief maker, was fantastic. Lucian and Gil's dynamic is great as always. With that, is there any last comments before we end it off?
I
Can we
still
do it
wanted to
sooner?
rob Zephyr.
Well, I mean, the ball is young.
Can we do it sooner?
I was gonna do it tonight while he slept.
While he slept? Why are you gonna rob
I was
me?
gonna pick the lock on his door.
Hey, like the night is still technically ongoing. You can just do it before you get up, or before we like pick up with the next day.
Yeah,
So
technically only 4 hours of sleep, so I mean.
So that being said, thanks everyone so much for watching. Thanks all of you so much for playing. I hope you all had fun. And we'll see you all next.
Bye, guys.
I don't want to wait next week.
Me neither.
How about tomorrow?